Good morning. Welcome to the dedication of the Southern Arkansas University Engineering Facility. Little did we know on Friday, January 31st, 2014, when the Arkansas Higher Education Coordinating Board approved the university's engineering program, that we would be sitting here today in this wonderful facility, which is a perfect fit for our program. To speak more about the impacts of this wonderful facility, it is my pleasure to introduce Southern Arkansas University's president, Dr. Trey Berry.
And good morning again. We're glad you're here on this beautiful, beautiful day. What a great crowd. And welcome to the campus of Southern Arkansas University. This is a great day for SAU. This is a great day for South Arkansas and indeed the entire Arklatex region. But more importantly, it is a great day for our students. There's no doubt about that. At the beginning of the ceremony, we want to take some time to introduce and recognize some individuals and groups, people who, without their help and care, this day would have never happened. There's absolutely no doubt. First, I'd like to start with the SAU Board of Trustees, who believed in this project, in this engineering program, and its impact from the very, very beginning. Here with us today is Mr. Steve Keith, Chair of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Edgar O. Lee, the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and Mr. David Nelson. Would you please stand and be recognized? Also, Dr. David Rankin, our President Emeritus, whose vision to start this engineering program 4 years ago led to today. Dr. Rankin, it has been a long road, but we're here. Where are you? Let me see you. Stand up, please. Other special guest, Congressman Bruce Westerman is here. Representative David Fielding and Representative John Bain from our legislature. I didn't see Mayor Parnell Van. I don't know if he's here or not. I didn't think so, okay. Chase Emerson from Senator Bozeman's office is here at the back. And then I believe our county judge, Larry Atkinson, is here. I see him at the back there. And I'd also like to thank someone. I told him I was going to embarrass him today. Miss Cheryl Johnson. Cheryl is a member of the Arkansas Higher Education Coordinating Board. She played a pivotal role in the approval of this process and this program. And Cheryl, without your unwavering support, and I'll say without your wisdom, we would have never achieved this day. Thank you so very, very much. Our friends from the Arkansas National Guard are here today. Major General Mark Berry, Brigadier General Tamara Hutchins-Fry, Lieutenant Colonel Joel Lynch, Command Sergeant Major Stephen Vesey, and Lieutenant Michelle Malone. They're all here. Would you please stand, please? You may not know this, but we had planned to build a $2.2 million engineering building that would have been about half this size. And then we heard that the armory in which we're in was slated for closing. And let me just say that SAU has had a connection with the National Guard that goes back long before this building was built in 1976. We were saddened to see this unit disband, but the gift that you, General Berry, and Governor Hutchinson gave to SAU was truly a blessing. Thank you so very, very much. to have this facility right in the middle of campus. And it literally doubled the size of what we were hoping for with an engineering building. It also saved us about $1 million, General Berry. It's the perfect building. In fact, in the construction, they will tell you we probably only moved about 4 or 5 walls. The bones of this building were perfect and are probably recognizable to so many people. And this has left a legacy, and you have left a legacy for generations and decades to come. So thank you very much. Many of our industry partners are here today and supporters. We want to thank you for being here. Without you, literally, your support was indispensable. And that support is still coming from our industry partners with internships and gifts to allow us to have equipment for our students and faculty. And our industry partners will be recognized at our luncheon later at noon today. We also have friends here from the Magnolia Public Schools, from the El Dorado Public Schools, Arkadelphia Public Schools, Parker Chapel Public Schools, the El Dorado Education Foundation, the Arkadelphia Chamber of Commerce, and the Magnolia Chamber of Commerce. If you're from any of those groups, would you please stand? And then we have some of our dear friends from the El Dorado Promise and from the Arkadelphia Promise. And no, you're not going to escape. You're going to have to stand up too. So would you please stand up? And then some words of thanks. I'm going to start with Josh Key and his team from the Development Office. They really were the true drivers of this entire process from the time we had the idea about an engineering major and building until today. Josh, thank you so very, very much. Jeannie Bismarck and the SAU Foundation have done a great job in managing the money, getting ready for this day, and also helping us make contact with people literally across the country. So Jeannie, SAU Foundation Board, thank you so very much for all you're doing and all you have done. Thank you. Jess, go ahead. Yes, please. Jasper Lewis, Robbie Nash, Kyle Newton, Latricia Davis, Sarah Jane Telford, for all your work in getting ready for this day and keeping us on track, which was the most important thing in the world. Blake Dunn and CAD-M Architects, thank you so much for making this possible. Beautiful, beautiful facility. And TMG Construction. They had a very short window in actually to refit this building, and they made it. They made it on time. So thank you to everyone for that. Also, I want to thank Dr. Scott McKay and the entire faculty and staff of the College of Science and Engineering. Their dogged determination, and that is the exact word, their dogged determination made this program come into being. And thank you so much, Scott, for all you've done. And then finally, a word of thanks to a very, very special lady who could not be with us today. Miss Edna Cook Norvell from Dayton, Ohio. Miss Norvell is a 1938 graduate of Magnolia A&M, SAU. She moved with her family from Illinois in the middle of the Great Depression and moved to Buckner, Arkansas, where her father was a farmer. They were able to save enough money, literally scrap and save enough money, to send her and eventually her brother to Magnolia A&M, which was then a 2-year college. She tells the stories over and over again while she was here of how generous the faculty and staff in Magnolia, how they were to her and to her fellow students. Time and time again, she said almost every night of the week, they went from house to house to house to have dinner in the family homes, or else they wouldn't have had dinner. And I'll tell you, when we heard last year that she wanted to give back to SAU, we had no idea what she really meant. And I'm here to tell you that Ms. Norvell has given to this engineering program over $1 million for scholarships for students for now and in the future. So thank you, Ms. Norvell. Ms. Norvell met her husband Bob, who was actually a World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veteran. Met after the war while she was teaching during the Marshall Plan in Europe. And for the next 55 years, she taught school literally all over the world in 5 different countries, coming back finally to settle in Dayton, Ohio. So today, we, in her honor and in Bob's honor, we are not just dedicating this building, but we're also dedicating this interior space, this learning space, these classrooms that we see all around us, as the new Bob and Edna Cook Norvell Engineering Center. So thank you. We are videotaping this for Ms. Norvell, and she will see it online this afternoon. But I'll just say, I'll look directly in the camera and say, Ms. Norvell, this is your day. Thank you so much for what you've done for our students today and tomorrow. Thank you so very much. I will also say that this day is not necessarily about the dedication of a building. I think we all realize that. This is not about a building. This is about students. This is about learning. This is about the living and learning that will happen in this building for generations to come. And speaking of living, we're about to expand that living next year. In fact, across the way, if you may have noticed that we have what many know as the old skating rink, the rider rink, we affectionately call the Mule Barn now. Next year, we'll be turning that into a residence hall, a 78-bed residence hall for engineering and science students. And it will be an engineering and science living and learning center. So our living and learning for engineering is just about to expand beyond what we're doing now. So it's a great day. I will say this, it is a great day, this very day, but it's also going to be a great day in the days ahead for the SAU engineering program. Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you. I would like now to ask an engineer to come and speak to us. This engineer and forester is a native of Hot Springs. He received his degrees from the University of Arkansas and Yale University. And I will tell you, since the day we mentioned the possibility of this program, he has been an ardent supporter of what we've been doing here. And this engineer just happens to be our Congressman, Bruce Westerman. Let's welcome Congressman and engineer, Bruce Westerman.
It is such a great day to be here, Trey, and usually it's a lot better to be introduced as engineer than congressman, so I appreciate you leading with that. Engineering is a very respected profession, and I am so excited about what's happening here. When we talked about this day many months ago, maybe even over a year or two ago, I said, well, whenever you have the dedication, I want to be there. Whatever's on my schedule, if at all possible, I want to be there. And I'm thrilled to be here today, and SAU and Magnolia holds a special place in my heart. Many of you may not realize this, but my older brother graduated from SAU, and there's something special about that. And that is that he was the first member of our family to ever graduate from college. That's including my parents and my grandparents on both sides and all of their ancestors. As far as we can tell, my older brother Donald was the first one to ever get a college degree, and he got it here at SAU. And I remember how proud I was to come here for his graduation and to see my older brother walk across and get that college diploma. And I've been here many other times. As a student in high school, we would come to SAU. I was very involved in the Future Farmers of America, and we had our Southern District livestock judging contest and all the contests that you have in Agra. They were here on SAU's campus. So I was very familiar with the campus, and over the years I've got to be here for a lot of special occasions, and my brother's graduation being a very special one. But I'm not sure I've never ever been so excited to be here as I am today, and to celebrate the opening of, or the dedication of this building, and to talk about what's going on with the engineering program here at SAU. And I want to back up a minute and say, or recognize a few people. I know Dr. Rankin really got this started, and he put so much effort into it. And then General Berry, for you to be here with your staff today, that means so much to me, and I'm sure it means so much to everybody else here. And I just have to talk a little bit about General Berry and his commitment to this state, and his love for this state, and how he wants to make things work together for good. It sounds almost like a Bible verse. Work together for good to those who love Arkansas and this state. But you know, he knew that this facility was going to have to be closed, but he wanted to find a good use for it. And it's not just here; it's done this in other places where some of these units have been consolidated or closed. And what a great story is how this piece of government property is being used to further education in such an important area. And engineering is an extremely important degree field. You've all heard the engineering jokes, you know, the difference between an introverted and an extroverted engineer. The extroverted engineer looks at your shoes when he's talking to you. And I've heard them all being an engineer, but the one I like best is, what do most people call an engineer 5 years after graduation? Boss. There's such a need for more engineers. I've talked to not just employers here in the 4th District, but I talked to employers from around the country, and even ones that have facilities in other countries. And I remember this one gentleman telling me that they were in automotive market parts, and he said that when they build a new facility in the United States, they budget getting 3 engineers from the United States and 7 of them from overseas, because there's that big a shortage of engineers in the United States. This is a need that's great here in this part of the state. With all the manufacturing and the chemical facilities, and really engineers work in a wide variety of fields. Being able to produce engineering graduates right here in South Arkansas, right here from SAU, is going to be a huge impact to the local economy and to the regional economy. I know a lot of students are like I was when I went to college. The best job offers I had weren't in Arkansas, but the one I took was in Arkansas, because I love the state and I wanted to stay home. And there's a lot of students that live in this area that want to go to school here, but they want to get that engineering degree. So I think this is an important step in being able to not only attract talent, but to retain talent right here in this area in such an important field. And I know we're going to hear from some engineering students in the program today, but I wanted to share a little bit just how my engineering degree prepared me for life and the job that I do now. I remember serving in the state legislature, and we had a bill on the House floor, and it was just really simple math. The right way to go was pretty easy, but there was a big convoluted argument that was all political and nothing that really had to do with facts and data. And that's not how engineers are wired to think. And you know, I looked at this every way I could, and I just kept coming back to the same conclusion. So I go down to the House floor to speak, and I said, I'm an engineer. I was trained to think with logic and reason, and today I've decided this may not be the best place to showcase my talents. And I've found that to be true over and over in public service. And I like to talk to engineering students a lot to try to get this in their mind before they go through a college education. As I said, my brother was the first one to graduate from college out of our family, so I really didn't have a lot of coaching as I went through. And there's things that I know now that I wish somebody would have told me going into the program. But what engineering really does is it teaches you to be a professional problem solver. A lot of the courses that I took along the way were extremely hard. Extremely hard. It may be because I didn't have a lot of material to work with. I may have been a challenging student to go through an engineering program, but to me they were hard and challenging. And I spent over 20 years, really about 23, 24 years doing engineering work before I got into Congress. And there wasn't a whole lot of the stuff that I learned in the classroom that I used every day, as far as the science and the math. I mean, you draw from that all the time, but what I used every single day of my career was problem-solving abilities. Because you can't really train someone in college for everything they're going to face in life, especially not in engineering, because technology and science is constantly training. But what you get from an engineering program is the ability to solve problems and to look at something that there may not be a known answer to it and think, you know, we can solve this. We'll break it down, we'll define the problem, we'll come up with a plan on how to solve the problem, we'll do all the work to solve the problem, and then we'll present the answer. And that's the problem-solving method that I learned in engineering school that I use in Congress even today. To break things down, to be discerning, to be able to analyze what's going on, and to come up with a reasonable answer. And I challenge students who are going through an engineering program to look at their courses that way. And it's not necessarily about all the content that you're learning, although that's extremely important. A lot of it is about how you face those problems and your ability to solve those problems. And I would also tell engineering students that it's important once you get out of college to go ahead and get your professional license degree. Now, there's some extremely hard exams that you've got to take. The principles and practices of engineering, that's what they called it when I got out. They may have a different, I think they call it the FE exam, the fundamentals exam. You can take that usually in your last year of college. Then you have to go work for 4 years under a licensed engineer, and you can sit for the professional engineer's exam. And I will say I've never had a worse headache than after taking that professional engineer's exam. It's an 8-hour-long exam, and you feel like you've been thoroughly examined after you get through doing that. But you get that PE, and it's something to be proud of. And I think engineers are misunderstood a lot of times, especially the few of us that serve in elected office. If you look at Congress, there are 12 engineers in Congress. Now, even more rare than that, I've also got a forestry degree, and I'm the only forester in all of the House or the Senate. But you would think out of 535 people, you'd have more than 12 that have engineering degrees. But that's where we're at in this country today. And engineers are usually thought of as to be maybe quiet and shy, and even maybe very introverted at sometimes. But I think what people are confusing there is that, especially for professional engineers, you have a code of ethics. And in part of that code of ethics, it talks about protecting the public health, safety, and welfare. I mean, that's your charge as an engineer. And I know if my family's driving over a bridge, I want to know that the person that designed that bridge was qualified to do what they're doing, and that they didn't cut corners on it, and they're protecting the public health, safety, and welfare. Most of us probably never think about that when they drive over a bridge, unless you're an engineer and realize that, you know, that bridge is standing there because somebody made a calculation, and you hope they got that right. And you can take that to lots of things that are around us. These trusses in here, some engineer designed those trusses, and we take a lot of that for granted. But also, if you look in the engineering code of ethics, it talks about not making comments about things that you're not qualified to make comments about. And in politics, that's not always true. Matter of fact, as a person serving in politics, you're oftentimes expected to have a comment about everything, whether you know anything about it or not. And I think that makes a lot of us as engineers a lot more reserved because that's ingrained in me that I don't get up and talk about something that I can't back up or I don't have the facts for, and I don't just make stuff up on the cuff because of my engineering training. Now, I wish we had more of that in public service today. I wish we would use the 2 ears in proportion to the 1 mouth that we've got so that we could learn more and make more informed decisions. But that's what an engineering degree is going to teach you, and that's what an engineering career is going to allow you to do. And I'm so excited today to be here and be part of this ceremony and to celebrate this really great day for SAU, for Southern Arkansas, and for this region, and most importantly, for the many students who will be impacted through this program. And the fruits of that may not be realized for many years, and many of us may be gone by the time a lot of those fruits are recognized, but you can take satisfaction in the fact that you're here today, you're supporting this program, and it's going to be good for this community for a long time to come. And again, I can't say enough how pleased I am to see this happening here in the 4th District and the benefits that we'll reap from it as we go forward. So God bless you for being here today. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it. And if I can ever be of any help in moving this forward, getting your ABET accreditation or whatever you need, please know that I'm here to call on me. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Westerman, for being here with us today and for your support of this program. The College of Science and Engineering has experienced enormous interest in this program. Beginning in the fall of 2014, the university experienced its first class of over 60 students. This year, the enrollment in the program has grown to more than 200 students. Ensuring that students have the resources in the classroom and laboratories to be successful, as well as having experiences outside the classroom, are crucial components of this program. Here with us today to speak on behalf of our students is junior engineering student Erin Stanitch.
Good morning. My name is Erin Stanitch, and I'm a junior engineering major, as he just said. And let me start by saying that it's an honor to be representing the engineering student body of SAU. And I'm very privileged to be speaking before you all today. I cannot begin to fully express my gratitude for this new establishment. Through the generosity of the donors that support SAU, our program has evolved drastically. My peers and I immediately noticed how much more spacious the new facility is. With SAU being the fastest growing college in Arkansas, space is definitely a crucial factor. In the science building across the street, the engineering students were limited to half of a hallway and 2 different labs, whereas in this building we have 5 labs that are much larger in size. This allows for more specific work that further relates to the jobs we will all be seeking out in the workforce. On top of that, students now have a greater opportunity to work on projects outside of class since each lab isn't loaded down with so many different courses. 3D printing is something I'm passionate about and I enjoy working with a lot. Instead of our printers being used in the same room as 3 to 4 other classes, we now have a room dedicated just to 3D printing that is always open for students to use. And it is also important to point out that even more lecture halls or labs could be built right where you're sitting with the continual growth of our program. Along with the improved space that SAU has acquired is the improved equipment that we can make use of in this facility. Through the donations provided, SAU is able to purchase multiple pieces of equipment that enhance our experiences in the engineering program. Most of the tools purchased are now used in our new senior design workshop lab, which students use to replicate some of the work they would be doing for companies through their use of group collaboration. Before we had this workshop, what tools we did have were being used outside in the parking lot because of the lack of adequate space. So as you can see, your contributions have definitely made an impact on the faculty, staff, and students of Southern Arkansas University. I would like to thank every donor and supporter that is here today for the differences that are being made in the engineering program. The donations that SAU are receiving are undoubtedly helping create leaders for the future. Thank you.
This program would have not moved forward without the support of regional industry. Industry partners joined with us in the very beginning in providing a case for the need of an engineering program in South Arkansas. Partners are providing internships, opportunities for our students, and have also invested over $400,000 to ensure that our students and faculty have the necessary resources to be successful. It is an honor to have with us several of our partners today, and we cannot express our appreciation enough for the gift of your time and your resources to the university. Lockheed Martin has been a great friend to the university through providing opportunities for our students as well as resources for our program. We are happy to have with us today Colin Stirling, Camden Site Director at Lockheed Martin Missiles and Fire Control, and we invite him to share about the importance of partnering with SAU. Colin.
Thank you, Josh. What an honor and a privilege it is to be here with you today and to celebrate this tremendous achievement by the university. And I may be a little bit biased, like Congressman Westerman. I was trained professionally as an engineer, and so I think the engineering field is the greatest field in the world. And I can probably back that up with a little bit of science and data and fact, but probably most of it's emotion. So I might be able to be a congressman one day too. It's not supposed to show the emotion. Okay, all right. But at the university I attended, we had a motto at the gate, and it said, "Enter to learn, go forth to serve." And as Dr. Berry talked about the tremendous contributions that Ms. Norvell has contributed to this facility, I couldn't help but think back to that. And truly what a pioneer she was, to come here and early on in the history of the school and to go out throughout the world and serve in countless countries. I can't imagine the impact that she had on the lives of those students and the increasing impact on the following generations. And I'm so grateful to know that there was an individual that had such a large impact throughout the world and has come back to give additionally to this great university and this great cause. So I'm very grateful for Ms. Norvell today. There are many things that can be offered up to a university and in terms of helping start a program like this, and we've heard about some of those and we've talked about some of those. And as an engineer, I just want to talk a little bit about how some of those things impacted me personally in my education. First, we've talked about cash, right? The generous contributions that have been provided by many, many donors. And you can see on the list on the front cover, many individuals and companies have just flat out donated cash to the organization. And Ms. Norvell is certainly to be thought of. And the example that I was thinking of, when I was attending school, I was a young father. Got married while I was still in college, had a son relatively quickly. I always can remember how long we've been married. I just remember back to how old my son is and then add a year, and then that gets me that way, so it keeps me safe. But during that time, as I was struggling a little bit financially. Right, I was trying to make it through school, trying to support my wife, trying to support my young son, and the generous contributions that an unknown donor had made contributed to the general scholarship fund of my college. And because of that, I was able to receive some money that helped me and allowed me to continue my education without as many struggles as I would have had. And so I'm so grateful for individuals like Ms. Norvell and the others of you who have donated cash and money to help the general scholarship fund of this school, as well as to set up the facility in general. The second piece is equipment. What a tremendous opportunity. We've heard about that just a minute ago from Erin. We have a whole room dedicated now to 3D printing here, which is tremendous. I can't speak enough about the experience that I had in my engineering training and my experience that I had with hands-on equipment that really prepared me to go out into the work world and already had experience operating the equipment that we were using at Lockheed Martin to fabricate components that went into our next tire assemblies. And I came into the company, one of the technologies at the time was water jet technology. And I came in from school, I had that experience at school, and it was determined at that point that we were gonna procure a water jet machine and add that capability to our shops. And because of my experience, I went in and I immediately became the lead of that organization. So going back to Congressman Westerman's joke about I became the boss of the water jet machine right away. And without that hands-on equipment that somebody had generously donated, just like our 3D printers here, I wouldn't have had that experience, and somebody else would have gotten that opportunity. So I understand the importance of equipment. Next, I'd like to talk about just the general guidance. You know, we've talked about co-ops and internships, and actually Erin didn't mention it, but he is actually a co-op right now at Lockheed Martin in Camden, and we're enjoying that. And one of the things that we've contributed is our input on what do engineering students need? What is the education that they need in order to be relevant in our field today and come out and be productive and hit the road, hit the ground running? And so we've been able to provide that, and that is tremendously important. And we've expanded our program. We typically have anywhere from 9 to 10 internships that we host there in Camden of engineering students. But as we worked with SAU, we realized here that, you know, the classical internship, the way we did it, caused a student to step away from their studies for a semester or longer and miss out on that time, and sometimes they miss the curriculum and the pace of the school. And so what we elected to do here with SAU is to develop a co-op program whereby they can come during the day and still make it back in their classes in the afternoon and still do that concurrently. So they gain that industry experience and they're able to keep up the pace with their studies. And that's incredibly important. I was richly blessed in my studies to be able to work with industries and do really no fool and hands-on work that was impacting their business on a daily basis. And that, again, gave me that extra edge as I went out into the workplace and understood how industry worked and what I needed to do to be better prepared. And again, it came back to problem solving, and particularly problem solving around individuals and communication and how you work with people. Because you can never take the people out of it. As much as engineers try to automate and add those types of processes and capabilities, there will always be people there. So that's probably the number one skill that I believe an engineer needs to take away. And so I'm so grateful today to be part of this great experience, to dedicate this building and celebrate that program, to celebrate all of you as donors. You ought to be tremendously proud for the impact that you're creating here in South Arkansas. I'm very pleased with SAU and the experience and the relationship and partnership that we've been able to enjoy. They've been tremendously helpful in generating curriculum that matches our needs, listening to our input, and then creating the curriculum. And they've done that with lots of industry partners, and I'm grateful for their open mind and being willing to do that. I'm also tremendously grateful for the state and for their willingness to support this tremendous opportunity and understanding the importance of the growth of the engineering community here, not only in the country, but particularly here in Southern Arkansas. And without that partnership of the community, donors, the state, and SAU, we would not be able to achieve the goals that we have moving forward in producing the number of qualified engineering candidates that are needed in order for companies like Lockheed Martin as well as others to be successful in the future. So at the end of the day, my message is thank you to SAU for all of your work in making this happen, for the vision and the drive and the motivational force, and particularly to all of the other donors who made it happen, because it will truly make South Arkansas a better place to work and to live and be more attractive for future candidates for jobs as well as employers that may be looking to come to the state and have a qualified work pool. So thank you.
We are fortunate to have a great team of administrators and engineering faculty who came together to develop programming and space utilization for this facility. As you tour this morning, you will see the multifacets of this facility featuring classrooms, various laboratories, offices, and student lounges. Leading this effort and the development of this facility is Dr. Scott McKay, Dean of the College of Science and Engineering. Dr. McKay will now come to share with you briefly about the features of this engineering facility.
Well, good morning and welcome to SAU Engineering. This is a great day. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the College of Science and Engineering, I want to thank all those who contributed to this day. I won't start mentioning it because I'll certainly be remiss in omission if I do, but you know who you are. I'm going to give a few factoids to kind of start out with. This is the main engineering building of the complex. There's 28,000 square feet in here. There's 7 laboratories. There's 2 classrooms over here. We've got an office suite, student lounge, and right through those west doors is a beautiful 3-bay machine shop, which we're very excited about. At the end of these discussions for the dedication, you're welcome to tour. We have some of the work that the students are presently doing. We have over here with Dr. Bakri's group some of the grants he's working on with NASA and NIH. They're working on space exploration, cosmic radiation. So how many are into that? Okay, good, a lot of you. Okay. We also have in a senior design lab, we have design and construction of a vertical wind turbines for power generation. You'll be able to see that in senior design. There's also other displays in the other laboratories. Please stop, ask questions. We'll be glad to host those questions. We'll also be out at the shop if you want to look at that. This facility will be the cornerstone of future economic development partnerships for the college and also somewhat to the university. High demand workforce training such as case with engineering technology, welding engineering technology will also be supplied here. This engineering facility, along with our ADQ lab, our new cybersecurity laboratory, will provide an unprecedented opportunity for collaboration. Our engineering faculty hold degrees in mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, and civil engineering. They're eager to collaborate. Please come by anytime and let's get them to work. We also have 2 PEs on staff, which is a great thing. And congratulations to Dr. Ahmed, who just passed his PE if he's in the audience. Further, we are outfitting the laboratories with professional grade, industry grade equipment so that we can truly collaborate on any equipment and materials needed in industry. For example, in the senior design lab, we have a 600 kilonewton universal testing instrument. So, for y'all who don't know what 600 kilonewton is, it's a lot of force. Okay, take our word for it. We also have thanks to Lockheed Martin, a 12-ton MASEC H15 horizontal CNC machine that we're going to be putting up later in the year back in our shop. So we're very excited about that as well. We'll certainly be training on it before the summertime. The programs housed in the facility will train much needed engineering technology, and our new program, welding engineering technology, which I might say was very much on the behest of some of our industrial partners. And we thank them for all their input and all the organization's input on building our programs. Our students will learn experientially while solving real-world problems in strong collaboration with our industry partners. This facility will collaborate and establish companies. We'll collaborate with established companies as well as entrepreneurs alike. Whether routine testing is needed or you need help to bring your product from concept to production, we're here to help. This facility is very simple. We have 2 goals. First goal, to support the economic development and growth of the region. Secondly, and very importantly, to stimulate and provide access to a first-class STEM education for the children of Southern Arkansas. Thank you for coming, and have a great, great day.
Well, it's now time to take a tour. If you will, at your own pace, you can go in all the different areas. As Dr. McKay said, we have classrooms, labs, all kind of areas. You want to wander out, venture out, and take your life in your own hands in the shop, go right ahead. For those of you who RSVP'd, we're going to have a luncheon, appreciation luncheon, over in the Grand Hall of the Reynolds Center, which is just beyond the business building over here. And we'll see you there sometime very soon. Let me see exactly, it's housekeeping here. It is 11:54. If you can make your way there by about 12:15, that would be great. We'd love to see you there. Anyway, thank you so much. We see so many friends out here that have not just been friends to the engineering building and the engineering program, but to SAU overall. We thank you so much for coming, what you do for SAU, what you do for our students, and God bless you all. Thank you so much.